Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into Morning Jocks. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you on a rainy Thursday across the Magic City as it's going to rain a lot today. So be weather aware, be careful out there on the roads this morning as you're going to school, work, what have you. But we, of course, appreciate you always tuning us in here on JOX as we have another night of really good night of SEC hoops going on last night. So we've got a lot to cover there. We've got some news coming out of the college football world, and we'll go ahead and throw this out there so you can go ahead and start thinking about it. But me and Damian, we're going to have a little discussion here a little bit later on in the show and taking a look at teams from really, I mean, kind of around the entire country, but also specifically from the SEC. Teams that haven't made the college football playoff that we think this year, maybe this will be the year. Or at least make an argument for how we could see, okay, if you had to pick an SEC team that hasn't made the playoff before to make the playoff this year, who would that be? I know a lot of you might, maybe you're riding the Alex Golesh train at Auburn. Maybe you really like what John Sumrall is going to do at Florida, or you think Clark Lee's a man of his word, and Vanderbilt and that number one overall quarterback recruit they got are just going to go and take over the SEC. So whatever, or what have you. But there's a lot of options. I think it'd be interesting to get different people's perspectives. So we'll get to that a little bit later and ask you to chime in. But you just get the gears turning a little bit this morning and go ahead and start thinking about that a little bit. But before we get to that, Damian, we had some basketball last night.
We did.
And we had one game that we'll start with here in the state of Alabama, down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And you had Alabama taking on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And this was a game that, again, I mean, I say this a lot, but it's one of those games where no one's going to, sing your praises necessarily for winning it. But if you had lost it, people are going to go, ooh, okay, that was kind of a bump in the road that I didn't see coming for them. But Alabama they left no doubt, especially in the first half last night, as they ended up beating Mississippi State 100-75, 63%. That was just quick math there. 63% of those points came in the first half, as Alabama led by 30. They were up 63-33 there at halftime, and this is without LeBaron Philon. He was out last night. He's nursing an injury. I believe it's still maybe that nagging kind of thigh injury that he's had going on throughout the season. But he was on the bench. They decided to rest him because they have a big one coming up on Saturday against Tennessee. So in the first 10 minutes of the game last night, Alabama made 9 3-pointers. In the first 10 minutes. They had season highs in terms of first half production, the 63 points they made, and they made 16 3-pointers in the first half. Those are both season highs for Alabama this year. 5 different players had multiple 3-pointers made at halftime. So it was just a barrage from outside, and Alabama absolutely couldn't do, or Mississippi State couldn't do anything to stop Alabama in that regard. And then on the flip side, as we saw last week, they have a guy, Josh Hubbard, that pretty good. We saw him put up 35 by himself against Auburn last week, and he just had an off night. It was a rough night for him. He made one shot in the first half. He had 3 points at halftime. He didn't make his first bucket until there were about 8.5 minutes left in the first half. So Alabama clearly, it was just an off night for him, but Alabama also clearly had a strategy that was, we're going to shoot a lot of threes, and we're going to make sure Josh Hubbard doesn't shoot a lot of threes, and it worked pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, not too much to take away from this game. One, that Alabama scored 100 points without arguably their best player, LeBaron Philon. But what Mississippi State needed from Josh Hubbard was the effort that we got against Auburn, and you didn't get it because the supporting cast that he has around him, they're let's be honest, like, they're just not elite. Like, they're not. But Alabama, to me, the first 10 minutes, it felt like they hit 33s. And they came out hot. And that's a team, the way that they play, Mississippi State was in chase mode the entire game. Like, they could not slow the pace down. They couldn't find a shot. Alabama was getting a ton of offensive rebounds too, getting second chance points. Aiden Holloway shooting from the logo in the first half, and you kind of knew, like, okay, yeah, this game this game might get out of hand. But that's what you need to do. How they performed last night, even in the absence of LeBaron Fallon, is what you wanted to see for a team that's contending for something great. Like, if you had any questions about if this team could possibly make a run, and again, Mississippi, no disrespect to Mississippi State, you're going to see better talent than that. But the shot making ability and guys, everybody was confident. Like, every shot that they put up, it felt like it was going in. And what you saw from Amari Allen, a guy that has been doing it all, when he has his chances to put up some more shots, you see the point production that you got last night. But overall, I think Alabama kind of proved that, you want to be playing your best basketball late in the season. And that's what we're starting to see now, the 7-game winning streak, and really starting to build this thing up into something, something serious, and make a deep run that, not to say that I still think Florida is the best team in the SEC, but Alabama is starting to kind of shrink that gap a little bit as we're entering into, the back part of the season, going into tournament play.
Yeah, and it's they're going to have some tough ones coming up. They've still got Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn left on the schedule, and those are all going to be tough matchups, regardless of how some of those teams might be playing right now. They're going to be difficult. But you mentioned Amari Allen. He was great last night. He led all scorers. He had 23 points last night. He had 5. He was 5 for 5 from 3-point range in the first half. So he was really kind of the catalyst there early on with Phylon being out. But he goes for 23. 5 rebounds, couple assists thrown in there as well. So another really nice showing for him. Reitzel had a really good game. He had 18 points, but he also had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Aiden Holloway had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. So you got a lot of contributions from everybody. Well, except one guy. But anyways, we're not going to harp on that anymore. But again, just a really, really good win there for Alabama, and very impressive offensive performance. I will give credit to Mississippi State, though. They really, they didn't just roll over and let Alabama take it to them in the second half. Like, they made some adjustments, and you could tell both offensively and defensively, they had a little bit more confidence. I mean, they outscored Alabama by 5 in the second half, if you're, want to have a positive takeaway. But I really did think, you're going, man, you're down on the road by 30, and you're still giving a lot of effort. So I think that's a credit to Chris Jans and the way that he coaches his guys up. But shout out to Achor, the former Sanford Bulldog. He was kind of the star player for Mississippi State last night with 18 points and 7 rebounds. So Alabama now 21-7 on the season. They are 11-4 in conference play. So that was the 8th time this year that Alabama has scored 100 points or more. This season. They also tied their season high in 3-pointers made. They made 22 3-pointers last night. They did that against Yale, and that is one shy of the single game record in the SEC that Alabama also owns.
Figures.
And it's kind of like if you look at like the 3-point chart or like the 3-pointers made in a season in the NBA, and it's like Steph Curry. It's like kind of like that for that one for Alabama. But how about this? This is crazy. This is now back-to-back seasons that on February the 25th, Alabama has hosted Mississippi State in Coleman Coliseum and made 22 3-pointers in a victory.
So if you're Mississippi State, it's like, hey, can we get this game moved a
Literally
little bit?
deja vu of, didn't this happen 1 year ago today? And it did. Crazy enough. That exact
wild.
thing happened last year on the same date in the same location. So nice win for Alabama there, 100-75 over the Bulldogs. And again, they are going to go up to Rocky Top and play Tennessee at 5 o'clock on Saturday, and that's going to be that's a big one there. That is going to be a big one. But you did have a full slate of SEC action last night. So Florida, they took down Texas. Florida's still the best team in the SEC, but like Damian said, maybe Alabama closing that gap just a little bit. But Florida kind of owns them recently, so going to have to see that on the court first. But Texas actually led at halftime. They were up 39-36, and then Florida just put it in a different gear in the second half. So they get a nice 13-point victory there on the road. You had Arkansas and Texas A&M. Texas A&M, again, you got to give credit to Bucky and what he's been able to do in his first year there and bringing in a lot of new guys. But it's, the SEC's, it's been tough for them against the upper tier competition, and Arkansas kind of didn't have too much trouble last night. They win 99-84. Vanderbilt takes down Georgia 88-80. So Vanderbilt still looking, them and Arkansas looking like they're still in that 4 or 5 seed range, depending on how the next few games go. And then LSU, they go down to Oxford and win in double overtime, 106-99. I know I was, being very critical of this game yesterday, like who's going to watch that? And I didn't watch most of it, but after the Alabama game, I did go and watch the end of it, and I was like, oh, this. I'm glad I tuned in.
Yeah, it was
entertaining.
Exactly. It was an entertaining watch there at the end. And
doesn't mean anything.
Not at all.
It was entertaining.
Not at all. It's, again, two teams that have struggled a little bit this season, but nonetheless, they did put on a great performance. I think the one thing about just the SEC slate last night, and to your point about Texas A&M, it's now that we're at the end of the season, and especially how it started, like we were – not to say that Vanderbilt has necessarily dropped off, but once they started to get into, like you said, the upper tier of the conference, you started to see like, okay, they may not to say they're not good or not elite, but there's probably one of the teams, them in Missouri, to me, it's, okay, if you told me they were in the Sweet 16, it makes sense. I'm like, okay, that means they are for real. And I still have a little bit of hesitancy on both of those teams. But when I look at Texas A&M and how it started and how it's ending, it's like, man, they kind of lucked up. Like when we kind of look at their schedule as a whole, especially early on, you're like, hey man, Bucky's really got this team rolling. And now that, we starting to see that separation on the back half of the season, it's okay, you're about what we thought. Yeah. And it's, again, it's no shot. To me, it's a different style, but they're very similar to how they have been when they were with Buzz Williams. They're not terrible, but they're also not great. They're just good. And again, that's not a bad thing, because I do think their style, I mean, they still pressing all the time, but when you run across a team like in Arkansas, that's okay. Like we got a couple veterans, and we also have Darius Acuff, who is an absolute dog. You kind of in a mismatch where it's you're in chase. It's kind of similar to Mississippi State. You're in chase mode from the jump. It's okay. Well, unless we jump out on them quick, it's going to be difficult because nobody on Texas A&M's roster kind of scares you. They don't have that one takeover guy. It's just the style in which they play kind of overwhelms some teams at times. But I wouldn't be shocked if they made a little bit of a run, but it's also because of just the style in which they play that can make it difficult for teams.
Yeah, and I think also, with the style, I just go back a couple years, when Sanford almost beat Kansas in the NCAA tournament, and the problem with Texas or being the coach of Texas A&M is people aren't going to overlook you the way that they did when you were at Sanford, right? In the sense of, we're Kansas, they're Sanford, we're going to take care of business. Then you got there and you're like, I really didn't know what they were about. Like, I'm impressed. Like that. I mean, Bill Self was very complimentary of Bucky and the style of basketball they played after that, and how I was like, I don't want to play them again. Like that was brutal. But when you're at Texas A&M, people are, you're not going to fly under the radar quite as much. People are going to, maybe be a little more familiar with your style of play. But yeah, I mean, really, any team from the SEC, I mean, even Auburn to a certain degree, like if they do find a way to get into the tournament, if you were to tell me they've somehow won 2 games back to back, like, okay, like, Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall, they had both had a big game and they got a good matchup, and so now they're playing in the Sweet 16, and maybe that's where it ends. But you could convince me of just about any team from the SEC that makes the tournament that they could win a game or two and have a little something going on there. So it's going to be fun as we wrap up the regular season, get closer to Nashville and the conference tournament, and then of course the NCAA tournament. So that's your SEC Hoops recap from last night. A big win for Alabama, 100-75, as they made 22 three-pointers to take down Mississippi State. But I want to turn the page to a little bit of college football now. And I said at the very beginning of the show we wanted to take a look at some teams that could make the playoff for the first time this upcoming year, and some teams that maybe are going to be flying a little bit under the radar. And so we're going to get to that. We've also got another quarterback being sued by his former school in college football. We'll tell you who that is and how much money they want next here on JOX. 6:19 here on your Thursday morning, rainy one here in Alabama. Conrad and Damian with you. Appreciate you tuning us in. Hopefully we're your sweet escape into the world of college football. Does Gwen Stefani still make music?
I'm not sure.
She's married to Blake Shelton, right?
She is.
Okay, that's what I thought. She was a good one back in the day.
She was.
She had some bangers, no doubt about it. Anyways, getting into a little bit of college football conversation here. This story came out last night. I was just telling you about another quarterback being sued by his former school for transferring and looking for damages. And that would be the soon-to-be richest man in college football, or at least the richest player in college football this year, and that is Brendan Sorsby, who, if you aren't familiar, that is the Cincinnati quarterback who transferred to Texas Tech. His NIL deal is believed to be north of $5 million. Some people are saying $6 million at Texas Tech this upcoming year. And so yesterday, Cincinnati goes, no, there's something that's not right here, Mr. Sorsby. And because of his breach of contract, they filed in U.S. District Court yesterday that they are seeking $1 million in liquidated damages, which the school said he was obligated to repay to the university within 30 days of him transferring if he decided to transfer. He did. Texas Tech offered him a stupid amount of money. He left to go there, and they have not received said payment as of this time. And so they allege that they had actually already signed him to an NIL contract last season that covered the 2025 and 2026 seasons. So according to the lawsuit, Sorsby signed an 18-month NIL contract with the Bearcats that started at the beginning of the 2025 season and ran through the end of the upcoming 2026 season, and it was going to expire on December 15th of this year. And according to the university, he notified the team on December the 1st that he was not going to be playing for the Bearcats and he would not participate in their bowl game. He then entered the transfer portal on January 2nd and immediately signed with Texas Tech. So if you just look at the calendar, it's been about 2 months now, and the $1 million have not been repaid. So they taken this to court, and as I was kind of joking with Damien in the break, I think this is a very quick phone call to Mr. Cody Campbell. Need $1 million. How can we work this out? And that check will be written and taken care of for him.
Yeah.
That would be my assumption.
Yeah.
You can always make more oil, right? Isn't that what they say?
I think that's what they say. But no, I mean, it's just the nature of the college football landscape, man. College athletics. Man, these guys are under contract now. And, the former schools, they will try to make sure that every debt is owed, every I is dotted, every T is crossed. And if we have to get legal with it, so be it. But again, this isn't the first time we're hearing about somebody getting sued.
No,
and I'm pretty sure it won't be the last.
No,
so
it definitely will not be the last.
So if you're Brendan Sorsby, just be thankful that you love the facilities that Texas Tech has, and also that $6 million bank account that transfer that you got going to Texas Tech. Because if you want to handle this without getting in front of a judge's face, just go ahead and write, like you said, hit up Cody Campbell, say, I need $1 million. Get this over with, and let's move forward. I got spring ball to worry about down here in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, I think they'll do what they can to make sure that Mr. Sorsby is taken care of and focused on getting back to a college football playoff and trying to win a game in the playoffs. So baby steps, right? That's what we're doing with Texas Tech. But yeah, we know they're made of money, so I think this will be taken care of without too much difficulty there. But all right, let's have a little fun now in the world of college football. And I thought about this because we had Brad Crawford from CBS Sports. He was on 3-Man Front earlier in the week, and we were talking with him about coaches under the most pressure, and we got plenty of time to talk about that before the season starts. But he also he came up with this article a couple of days ago that I was reading through, and it was some of his projections for teams that he could see making the college football playoff for the first time in 2026. And so I'll go through and share a couple of these with you, and then me and Damien, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we're going to tell you who we think from the SEC, if we had to pick, would be that team for 2026. But just to kind of throw some of these schools out here and get your quick thoughts on them, Damien. So I think the one, again, looking at the list, there's two that I think a lot of people would go, yeah, okay, I could see it. It seems like that would be very likely, maybe the easy picks if you were looking at the entire country, not just the SEC. But he has USC in there as a team that he thinks, I guess being at the top of the list, the most likely team to make their debut in the college football playoff, which it's hard to believe that they have never made one.
Yeah, that is a little wild. But again, all it takes is one. Lincoln Riley offensively, I have no question marks. Like, he's kind of in that boat with Lane Kiffin and a bunch of the offensive guys of, until proven otherwise, offensively, I have no question marks. Can USC finally play up to the level of a Big Ten defense? That's the biggest issue with him. I've never questioned if his offense can go out there and score. It's, can you stop anybody from scoring on the opposite side? So USC, Mayava coming back, I think that he's I'm not going to say that he's kind of the next great quarterback that Lincoln Riley's going to coach, but I do think he's taking the steps in the right direction. Like, there was some real growth last season.
Yeah, he was impressive.
Right, and I think that if he can continue to develop, it's not far-fetched that USC, even in the Big Ten, could find themselves in the college football playoff.
Well, and if they, if they take a step forward in there, because they were good last year, if they can take that next step, I mean, they have Ohio State, Indiana on the road, and Oregon. Okay, so those are three difficult games, but that's where you look. I mean, if you can win one of those games, all right, and maybe you can, I don't know how good Penn State's going to be. Maybe there's something, but I mean, their non-conference schedule is ridiculously easy. They don't play Notre Dame anymore. I mean, you could see a path where if you go 1-2 against Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, like maybe you pick up the rest of the games, you're 10-2, and you're in the playoff. So that was the first team that you have there on the list. Another one, again, BYU. They were close last year. Maybe they take another step this year. Who knows? Maybe Texas Tech takes a step back, or maybe two Big 12 teams get in. But I don't think anybody would be shocked if BYU. They were right there last year. If this year they were a couple spots higher and found themselves in.
Yeah,
in the playoff.
I feel like they're always knocking on the door.
Yeah.
It's just that they'll have one just gut-punching loss to usually a quality opponent. Like the likes of Utah, Texas Tech last season. And I think Kalani Sitake, the way, like, the identity of his team just fits him. He always has a good read of just what his team can be. And there's some hiccups that have happened. But again, I'm with you. I would not be surprised if, they end up, playing for the Big 12 championship again and also finding themselves in the college football playoff. Yeah,
and they avoid Texas Tech in the regular season, so that helps them out. They do have Notre Dame, but I mean, it's not a conference game, so that doesn't really, if you could win that game, that'd be great. But I mean, their schedule's not hard. No. Their schedule's not hard at all. So I could definitely see BYU. This one threw me off a little bit, and just because, I guess if we're going like for the, the next Indiana type thing, Oklahoma State. They were terrible last year.
Seems a little early.
Yeah, that was my thing. And I get it. You brought over Eric Morris. You brought over Mestamaker, who he led college football in passing yards last year. He's a nice quarterback, but that would be a shock to me if they were that ahead of schedule. You have Oregon and Texas Tech on the schedule. I don't think you're beating any of those right now. I mean, again, who knows? Prove me wrong, but I guess if you go 10-0 the rest of the way there, because you don't have a difficult schedule outside of those two games, but it's first-year coach. They brought over 50 new kids in the portal. I mean, maybe, but that I guess that's your, if you wanted like a dark horse type.
Yeah, and the Big 12, the Big 12 is probably the most quote unquote gettable conference, because I don't think there's just a clear separator from top to bottom almost year to year. Like I think Texas Tech kind of proved that money can buy you a pretty good season. Mm-hmm. Can they follow that up this season? But Oklahoma State, maybe year 2 to year 3 I could kind of believe it, but year 1 flipping it around that quickly. Not to say that it can't be done. I just don't have a lot of faith in that happening. Like, they'll be improved for sure, but college football playoff, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And then the last one we'll leave you with before we get to the SEC and some of our picks here. He has Louisville in there. They play Ole Miss in Nashville, so that's that would be a huge win if they could get it. I wouldn't expect that, but It makes their strength schedule look better. But I mean, you just look at they're playing Villanova in football.
Okay. That'd be a
SM
great basketball matchup to
Yeah.
watch.
Oh, yeah.
At
But
least a
I
couple
mean,
years ago.
Wake Forest, Florida State, Syracuse, Stanford, Georgia Tech. Okay, maybe Georgia Tech's still pretty good. North Carolina, Pitt, Kentucky. Like,
They got a
okay,
path.
they got a path. They
got
got
a
a
path.
path. So, just because of that schedule, sure, I can see why they'd be included there. But I guess we'll have to see if Jeff Brom is able to get over that hurdle because I know that's something that he's talked about already this offseason. So those are just some teams to keep an eye on, maybe to, the Brad Crawford thought, oh, okay, I could see them making their first playoff appearance now. But when we come back, me and Damian, we've thought up of an SEC team. We've each picked an SEC team that we think we're going to share our case for why we could see this being the year they finally get over the hump and make their first college football playoff appearance. We'd love to hear from you. 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line. If you want to get in on the fun or disagree with us, agree with us, whatever, we'd love to hear from you. Our picks for the next SEC team to make their playoff debut right here on JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here on a rainy Thursday across the city of Birmingham. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock when we hand you off to McElroy and Kublick in the morning. If you missed it, quick recap. Alabama, they take down Mississippi State 100-75 last night in Coleman. Alabama hits 22 three-pointers. They scored 63 points in the first half, and that's really all you need to know about that game. And they did it with LeBaron Philon sitting on the bench, resting up for Saturday's game against the Tennessee Volunteers. So we're about to tell you some of our picks for who we think out of the SEC could make their debut in the college football playoff this year. And so I'm going to go through and just remind everybody real quick what teams are, I guess, technically on the table, right? The SEC teams that have never made it to a college football playoff. So we've got, for us to choose from, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Kentucky, Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Arkansas. Those are all the SEC teams. Every other team has made it at least once. Like Texas A&M, you made it once. Otherwise, that would have probably been a pretty easy choice this year. Just, going based on what else we have in the conference. But who wants to start, Damon? You want me to go first? Do you want to go first? I want you to go first because you've been telling me now because we were supposed to do this yesterday, and you've been hyping up the way that you're going to go. So I'm interested to hear it.
Because, man, I don't want to give anybody any sense of false hope, but this is just kind of
it's fun. We're having fun.
It's so hard not to think it's going to work at some level. What level, I do not know. But in the event that it does land, I have the Auburn Tigers. I have high expectations.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
I have high expectations for Byron Brown because if he plays like he did at South Florida, it is hard not to think that this Auburn team cannot find themselves in the conversation, if not solidified in the college football playoff. Now, the schedule is going to be difficult. It's going to be brutal. But you went toe-to-toe with a lot of these teams in years past with a collection of talent, but not the actual team that put it together. Like I've seen Peyton Thorne go into Athens, and if he doesn't make one mistake in checking the ball and turn the ball over, giving Georgia momentum there in the second half, late in the fourth quarter, they win it. Like at least they have a better chance of winning it. And then even last season. And when you look at the returning pieces that they have defensively, DJ Durkin amongst a lot of guys in that front seven. You're losing a few pieces in the secondary, but I think offensively, you're not going to have these hiccups that you had last season. You're just not, because a lot of these guys that are going to be suiting up for you, they played for Alex Golesh. They know the expectation level of what the offense is supposed to look like. And again, if Byron Brown does what he did at South Florida in the SEC, they are going to put up points. I love Alex Golesh. Everybody talks about me being a Tennessee fan. You know who the offensive coordinator was for Tennessee when they were in 2022?
Alex Golesh.
It was Alex Golesh. And he unlocked the Hendon Hooker that we had never seen before. So I think that if he can continue, if Byron Brown can continue to develop the way he is, and I know it's frustrating to say, but no matter how you slice it up, and I know you were annoyed of him saying it last season, but Hugh Freeze was right. You were close.
There it is.
You were.
There it is.
And it's so tough. But when I look at a lot of these other teams, Kentucky may have the element of surprise, but it's not the Mark Stoops Kentucky. They may be able to sneak up on you.
I would need another year or two before I was ready to have that conversation.
Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia is not strapping up again. I can't feel confident that it's going to look the same or even close to the same. Arkansas, I don't know what to expect for Arkansas.
Definitely not Arkansas. There were a few teams that I considered for this. Arkansas was not even one of them. I did not even think.
Mississippi State, love Jeff Lebby. It's almost like and I don't mean this disrespect.
Camaria Taylor's gonna tear it up.
He could.
It's gonna be great.
I look at Jeff Lebby the same way I looked at Sam Pittman at Arkansas. It's so hard I cannot root against you, bro. Like, I want you to have success.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's gonna happen, big brother. To be in the college football playoff conversation, I can't co-sign that right now. And the one the one team I kind of put in this situation, but I was just like, I have some hesitancy on is Missouri. Like, you can give me a conversation with Missouri, but their schedule is just I don't think. The one thing that Missouri has going for them, though, is that you return Ahmad Hardy, the leading rusher in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
If you make games ugly, possibly. But that would
the schedule is just
it's brutal. It's brutal.
Kind of gross.
So to me, it was hard. It was hard not to go against anybody. I mean, it was hard to pull for anybody outside of Auburn because I know if that thing clicks, that it's going to be rocking. So I'm with the Auburn Tigers as, again, a team, an SEC team that I have the most confidence in making their college football playoff debut. It'd be Auburn Tigers.
Well, they've always been, deep in your heart.
Yeah,
they're always there.
Yeah, that was Gus Malzahn years.
They did that. Last year they just kind of watched. They're, Auburn's like the, the SpongeBob meme where they're Squidward and they're watching you and Ole Miss outside having fun, playing together. Holding hands, running down the street, going to the college football playoff. And Auburn's like, I remember when Damian used to hear about us like that. But no, I like that. I think Auburn is obviously one of the teams that I thought about strongly, and I think, you laid out a great reason why. The schedule for them is going to be difficult, but if you have potentially, not saying it's going to happen, but potentially, a Heisman candidate at quarterback, if he translates what he did at USF to Auburn, and then you look at, you might have the defensive player, of the year in the conference, like. That's a good combination to have, right? And so we kind of have to wait and see. But if you're looking upside, I could definitely see that for Auburn. All right, now for my pick, and I'm going to preface this by saying this is largely based on the schedule in terms of being the easiest to navigate. I'm going to go with South Carolina. And the reason that I'm going to go with South Carolina, Damian gave me a face when I said that, is, again, kind of like what I just said with Byron Brown and Auburn. You have a chance to have maybe the best defensive player in the conference in Dylan Stewart.
100%.
You've got a chance to maybe have a Heisman contender at quarterback in Lenora Sellers.
Mm-hmm.
If Nick Harbor can be the guy we think he can be,
he's chiseled out perfect.
You could have a dominant wide receiver, a dominant quarterback, a dominant defensive lineman. I know that he just got hurt, so we'll see how much time he missed. But you brought in Peak, the offensive lineman, who I think besides Jordan Seaton was the highest-rated offensive lineman in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. All right, so just bear with me for a second. We've got Kent State, Towson, Mississippi State. We're starting off 3-0.
For sure.
Then you have to go to Tuscaloosa.
And
I'm not going to predict right now on paper.
Oh, boy.
That game's been very close the last couple of years.
It's been disgusting to watch as an Alabama fan.
It's been very close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
You got Florida.
You do.
We'll see.
New situation.
But coin flip maybe. Tennessee, don't really know what to make of them without Joey Aguilar.
You get them at home or on the road?
At home.
Okay.
Feel better about that one at home.
Okay.
You have to go to Oklahoma. That's going to be difficult. You have Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia, and Clemson. So, again, it's not going to be easy, but let's say you can finally get over that hump and you can beat Alabama. I feel like they can beat Clemson. I don't think Clemson's going to be that great next year, but prove me wrong, Dabo. And so then you've got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Tennessee. You go 2-2 in those games. I'm just saying maybe we're having a conversation.
Okay.
Again, this is largely based on schedule and seeing that, okay, you've got the potential to have a great quarterback, great defensive player, great wide receiver, great offensive lineman. Like, those are the pieces you need in the SEC. Shane Beamer's coaching for his job, like it or not. He's probably coaching for his job this year.
And when his back's against the wall, he's pulled some rabbit out of the hat.
So, again, this is a tough exercise because all of these teams are, let's be honest, they're all programs that are flawed because they haven't made the playoff yet. And so they're still striving for that. So I say it with my chest though. I'm going Gamecocks. Stay cocky.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they say there?
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at it. I couldn't. That's the thing. Lenore Sellers is a game changer. Like
Can be.
we have seen it. Like if he can put the Gamecocks on his back,
Mm-hmm.
and Dylan Stewart, of course, is a game wrecker. Like they are offenses that are going against number 6. Like they have to account for where he is on the football field at all times. I think the supporting cast just has to overachieve. Like they've got to elevate to a level. And again, if there's a coach that I believe that can bring it out of him, it's Shane Beamer. Like he's kind of, even if they were to be, 7-0, 8-0 going into, the backstretch of the season, they're still going to feel like underdogs. Like he has that he's got that little man syndrome of like, I have to punch up. I'm always going to have to punch up. No matter that you have, arguably one of the best, if not the most talented quarterback in the SEC, Nick Harbor, like you said, if he can learn how to play receiver.
Maybe the best physical specimen in the conference.
100%.
But
he just got to learn how to play receiver. Like he's got to he looks good getting off the bus. It's like, man,
he needs to talk to Damien.
Yeah.
A little route running 101.
Yeah, that's it. And get him in the lab, we can fix that. But
I don't.
That's tough.
Look, man, I don't love it.
It's tough.
Just in the sense of any of these teams,
right?
It's very easy to poke holes in an argument for why they would make the playoff. I'll be honest. Do I think that necessarily any of these teams that haven't made the playoff do this year? No, I don't. I do not.
I do. I will say this. I do have a team outside of the SEC.
You do. Well. It's in the ACC, correct?
Correct.
All right. So Damien's been. I thought it was Cal and Brian Harson, but Damien, we'll let you hold it. We'll go to a break, but yes, Damien will unveil. He feels really good about this one. I know the SEC one, that was kind of tough, but Damien's told me this team is 100% making the college football playoff in 2026. His words, not mine. He'll tell you who it is next here on JOX. Final few moments here of Morning Jocks on your Thursday, a rainy one here in the Magic City, so stay careful out on the roads this morning. But we appreciate you tuning us in as we're having some fun here. Some people are getting mad on the text line. If you miss the basis of the conversation, it's me and Damien are not telling you, oh, Auburn and South Carolina are going to make the playoff next year. It's just if we had to pick out of the SEC schools that have not made a playoff appearance yet, we're trying to make some arguments for these teams. Again, I'm not speaking for Damien, but me personally, I don't think any one of these teams is going to make the playoff this year. But if you had to make a choice and kind of put on your thinking cap and make an argument for why, it's just a fun conversation to have. Now, I'm very excited for this because this is is this your lock of the century? Is that what we're going to call this?
Let me gather some more data throughout the spring.
Okay.
But this is a team I feel very strongly about.
Okay. So Damien has, in the ACC, Damien feels really good about this team making their first playoff appearance. All right, give it to us. Who is it?
The Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. I'm telling you, I did some diving into 2025, and I look at what Brent Key has built there in Atlanta.
He's done a great job,
and
no doubt about it.
And I'm telling you right now, if you are a Georgia Bulldog fan, you know what I'm telling you is not that far-fetched. Like, they have been giving you about some of the best work as anybody else has, besides Alabama, out of anybody that you've played consistently.
I just looked at their schedule, dear Lord.
Bro, that too. Again, Haynes, what he unlocked in Haynes King, he's got Baby Mendoza. What if Baby Mendoza, little brother is anything like his big bro? They also have Justice Haynes, transferred from Alabama to Michigan, now to Georgia Tech, and we know Georgia Tech likes to ground and pound. Who they get from Alabama? Jalen Mbakwe, somebody that was always bubbling at Alabama. I'm telling you, the pieces are there. The pieces are there. I'm
just glad Alabama doesn't have to waste money on him anymore.
I have a gut feeling that when we look up about week 7, week 8, and Georgia Tech, you could tell me they may have one loss. They may be undefeated going into that.
So they're going to beat Tennessee?
If I had to make a prediction right now.
Yep. Right now, February the 26th.
Yes.
They get him at home.
They also beat him. As much as I love Josh Heupel, I love him. Love him to death. Joey Aguilar more than likely ain't going to play for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have no reason to believe what they have at quarterback is going to be anything close to what they've had in years past.
So your George McIntyre jersey hasn't come in the mail yet?
No. But I have a strong feeling about Georgia Tech, man. And also, again, the style in which they play, they don't mind winning the game 14-13. They don't mind making it 14-10.
They're tough.
They're tough. Exactly. Their identity, their style, and the ACC, to me, is up for grabs. Like, I understand Miami's kind of the cream of the crop. It depends if they continue on the trend that they've been on. But I have a real good feeling about Georgia Tech going into 2026, man.
I really like that pick, and a lot of it, again, has to do with the schedule. And I mean, okay, Georgia, like, yes, the incredible game a couple years ago. They've closed that gap. But, I think on paper we'd still give that win to Georgia. But, I mean, you could convince me every other game on their schedule why they win that game. I mean, outside of Georgia, I mean, is Tennessee the most difficult game, or maybe Louisville?
Maybe Louisville, but you get them at home.
At Clemson? I don't know what to make of Clemson, though.
And everybody else.
You should beat.
Come on. I'm telling you, man. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. We're going to be talking about Brent Key, probably coach of the year.
I think the only thing that could hurt them would be like this year is just not having a difficult strength of schedule, and so they could get kind of dinged. Like, they might not be able to lose 2 games. But I think that's a really good pick. I like that. So those are some potential first-time college football playoff appearances for the 2026 season. We're back tomorrow at 6.